Hey folks, this is your host, the one, the only Thrifty Gamer 83 here. Oh, today I figured I'd just discuss something that had largely bothered me in the gaming community and, to a smaller extent, the comic book industry. Those two things can be considered just one big misogynistic dogpiling of ComicsGate and GamerGate. And this is it's just amazingly insane how far this went. It not only managed to expose me to anti-Semitism, echo attacks, and doxing. It also managed to make me just feel like, wow, not only can you be racist, misogynistic, and anti-Semitic if you believe in Gamergate, but you can also have the same beliefs and belong over in ComicsGate. I mean, really, you look at it and you see, and you can just see how the folks who perpetuated both are wired. They take attacks against women to a new degree. There is no bottom, no depth. There is nothing they will not say to bring attention to themselves. And by that same token, they also fit right into that sandwich of the alt-right, and it's like the meat of the sandwich. It's the only thing that holds Gamergate and ComicsGate together is misogyny, anti-Semitism, and racism. It holds all three together. This is a bunch of folks who are generally tired white guys, and they know who they are. It can be tired old white guys, it can be tired young white guys, and they are just so tired of diversity. They are so tired of just seeing women achieve, which they couldn't. So they latch on to baseless attacks and lash out and expect their mobs to lash out as well. And it's not something they want to admit to, but it is something that they have. And what they call white knighting is exactly what they are doing when they rile up their crowds and when they just completely launch attacks. And it's taken a while for it to die down just a little bit, but it hasn't really died down. It will always be there just below the surface, and it will always be an intimidating thing for those so wrapped into the misogyny, the racism, and the alt-right to comprehend what they are actually doing. And this is something that should have been on the radar a long time ago in the retro communities, and it's something which allowed those to be stirred up. I don't like naming names. It's one of the things that I just carefully step away from. But I've seen it from retro gaming personalities who will just latch on to the idea of white genocide, and that will become part of Gamergate. And then they'll sandwich in some misogynistic drivel, and then they'll make themselves a sandwich from it. And that really, the mayonnaise on it has to always be the anti-Semitism that they just so brashly throw out. And, you know, back when I said Billy Cohen should come back out of retirement from Resident Evil 0 and become a character then, I didn't count on the echo attacks. I didn't count on the anti-Semitism. I didn't count on doxing. And this is ludicrous that this happened in the retro community. But you know what? It was all something that was boiling underneath the surface. It's something that someone has always wanted to say, but they never wanted to come forward and say it. And for some particular reason, they finally felt safe. They finally felt like they could come out of their safe spaces of different forums, of different boards on 4chan, and start saying it publicly. And that is something that is so sad. That is something that stubbornly gnaws at me when I think back to GamerGate, when I see the new embrace of ComicsGate, and it's something that shouldn't exist in the retro community. It really shouldn't. But really, as I said before, what you have is a bunch of tired old white guys, or tired young white guys, who can't stand diversity, who can't stand religions that are not their own, who cannot stand having women in positions of authority. It's the misogyny. It's something that just created the perfect catalyst. We know why that catalyst formed. Like I said before, I'm not naming names. I'm not going there. What I'm saying is, we all know why this happened. It shouldn't have happened. These people should have really just taken advice and shut up. Because now, not only have they exposed themselves as misogynists, fat-shaming racists, and they're utter drivel, but they also incorporated real-world consequences. And I'm touching lightly on this. Rudy J. Ferretti comes to mind. And people really need to understand what happened there, what encouraged it, why it became such an echo chamber, and his misogyny. And people just try to say, don't name him, don't talk about him. Folks, let's be honest, we have to talk about Rudy. He was part of this. Those who encouraged him, those who allowed it on their forums were part of this. This is just not a loose end. It's part of GamerGate. It's part of what we need to know. It's part of what those who riled him up need to know. Those actions have consequences. So, right now, when I read past articles of women being targeted in ComicsGate, the fact that it's always reaching back to the alt-right proves something to me. That sometimes we really should just say, yep, that's a Nazi. That's a misogynistic pig who is so tired of what they haven't achieved in life, going after a woman who has achieved something in their life, and going after those in the diversity community just so they can feel above them. Alright folks, rant, rave, love, hate, click that subscribe button. You're keeping my show on the air. Have a good one.